Step, something in my jeans. FOI, you know that's the team, huh?
Peace. This is your brother Aidan X, and welcome to the processing class. Peace. This is brother Aidan X, and welcome to the processing class. I got me a very special guest, Sister Nia X. Salam alaikum. Peace be upon you, sister.
Wa alaikum salam.
The first question I want to ask Sister Nia is, how did you get the teachings? Were you born in a nation, or did you get the teachings some other type of way?
So I wasn't born in the nation, but I was born Muslim. My mother was raised in the nation for a portion of time growing up, and she always taught us when we were younger that we were Muslim, but she didn't join the nation until I was around 10.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so how was that like growing up, being like having parents that, you know, influence you with the teachings? How is that? And how do you think that shaped you as an individual?
It was nice. We still growing up before my mother joined, we had some level of I guess Muslim influence. Like, we didn't eat pork, we didn't eat certain foods. We tried to make sure that we dressed a certain way, although it wasn't necessarily what we would do now, knowing what we know now. But it was different when my mom joined. It was we went through a transitional period because she learned a lot more. She learned the specifics because she was just a teenager when her parents were in. But yeah, it was weird, I guess, when you're around your friends and then you suddenly change up your lifestyle. It was an adjustment period. It was a big adjustment period, really.
How did your friends react to that? Because you said like adjusting.
It depended on the person. Some people got really offended because I grew up in the South Bible Belt. Hearing different views, they kind of thought that you hated their religion, or you were saying that their religion was wrong because you were practicing yours, or that you were trying to attack them by saying you don't do certain things. Like, I remember I had a friend who I told her I couldn't eat pork, and I explained why I couldn't eat pork. And Lord, she went off. She went off because she thought that I was basically saying that her family was dirty for eating it. So that was interesting. But yeah, it just depended on the person. Some people were really open to hearing about it, but it just depended on how deeply rooted they were in their faith.
Yes, ma'am. And did you ever feel like weird, you know, because, you know, when you have the teachings, you stand out. And of course, you can see that in a positive way, but how does it feel like, you know, being young and, you know, young people like in our classes and stuff are usually immature for our age. So, and the teachings kind of gives you a, not, you know, for most people, kind of a maturing and kind of a knowledge of self that makes you carry yourself different. So what would you say to people that's like, I'm interested in the teachings, but I don't want to be weird. I don't want to stand out.
There's nothing wrong with standing out, I would say. It's beautiful, especially because this religion, when you stand out with a glow almost. You have a certain level of self-respect that you might not have had before you joined the nation, a certain level of intelligence that protects you. So it's nice. Of course, now, a lot of times you do draw attention because you're dressed differently, especially if you're a woman. And it can, depending on where you are, it can be unsafe for you if you're not around other groups of people who are like you, if you're not around other Muslims. So you do have to be more conscientious of your surroundings. You know, all general orders in effect is what we always say. You have to make sure that you are mindful of who you're around. Like, for example, in certain towns, when we're traveling, we're not able to wear our headpieces. We wear flow scarves for our own safety because you can be a target. But it's also nice when you're around your own people. When you're around your people, who actually love the teachings, love Islam. They may not be in the nation, but they recognize us for what we've done, what the nation has done. And you receive a lot of love. So that's nice. It's always beautiful being around people who actually understand, what we are about.
Yes, ma'am. And you just said, how sometimes you're a target. Why do you think, in your opinion, the Nation of Islam is a target for a lot of people? Especially some people watching this may be like, if it's such a good organization, then why is the Nation of Islam targeted?
Because I teach the truth in a world that's built on lies. For those who actually are aware of what we teach, and they know the truth and they're against it, they're opposed to it, they don't want that getting out. And for I guess it's two different sides. For the racist aspect, we are an organization that's for the upliftment of Black people. And for me, I live in the South. They're not for that. It depends on where you are. Some people really they're like, okay, I don't want to be around you. But then there's people out there who they kind of want to see you. They don't want to see you at all. They don't want to see you around. They don't want to see you in your town. They don't want to see those people who push for Black empowerment, because it's like, who do you think you are as a Black person teaching that in your true nature, you're a God, when they want you to think that you're nothing. So that's why I can make you.
Yes, ma'am. And earlier you talked about, like the self-knowledge. And would you say the Nation of Islam, because a lot of young women deal with, self-esteem issues and lack of confidence, because of the way Satan's world is set up. So would you say that the Nation of Islam, in the teaching specifically, did something to your self-esteem and your confidence?
Oh, absolutely. My confidence has increased extremely being in the nation. When you're taught that we're the second self of God, when you're taught that you're the second self of God, as opposed to being in the world, you're taught that you're a B word, or, just a female. And then you come to something and it's like, you're the second self of God. You are the mother of civilization. It boosts your self-esteem, because you learn that you have such a divine purpose and value in Allah's eyes. And it makes you carry yourself differently, and you're treated differently.
Yes, ma'am. And just going on the self-confidence, some people get confidence from showing off their body. And obviously the MGT is not sisters that do that. So what would you say to people that's like, well, body appreciation, I want to have, I want to show my body off and my curves off, and especially the hair, because hair is a very, it's a mark of beauty for a lot of women. Getting your hair done and that stuff is important for a lot of women. So how did you feel about covering your body specifically and covering your hair specifically?
When I first started covering, I gave myself to, when I said I was going to start covering my hair at 16. I ended up starting to cover it before I was 16, when I was 15, a few months prior. But it was a transition for me. I wasn't accustomed to it at first, but now I have so much appreciation for it. It's a different, I guess, when you're valued for your beauty, you're not actually valued. It's not value. It's people are attracted to you maybe, but it's for something that's fleeting. Beauty is fleeting. It's not lasting, and it's really not even respectful half the time. It's something to be respected for your mind, for your person, who you are, your personality. It's a different type of treatment, and it feels beautiful, honestly. But it feels funny when you are just coming out of showing certain parts of your body, your hair especially, and you feel like, oh, I don't want to look like I'm 40 when I'm a teenager. Not that there's anything wrong with being 40, but when you're a teenager, you want to feel like, oh, I'm cute, I'm, whatever. But you feel so much more powerful when you put your scarf on. Like, I don't know, I get on my page all the time. When I put my headscarf on, and I'm in my uniform, my garment, I'm like, oh, let me show it off. But it's nice. It is nice.
What would you say to people that feel like like it's restricting, because Muslim women have a reputation of being oppressed, being slaves, quote unquote. So what would you feel about people saying that, isn't that restrict you? Because I feel so free showing off my body. I feel so free showing my figure. I feel so free showing my hair. Do you feel free being covered, or do you feel like restricted as most people would see it?
I feel free. I feel very free. No one made me put my scarf on. We are told, you know, why we should cover up, but I wasn't forced to put a scarf on. I put my scarf on and it was like a crown for me. And I hear that a lot from many MGT and Muslim women. It doesn't even feel right. I haven't shown my hair for years. But I couldn't tell you that I could go outside right now without my scarf on. I wouldn't feel, I don't know. I would feel less free if I had to take off my covering just to be seen. It's just like I can be fully covered and be myself. I'm free to be myself.
Yes, ma'am. And for a lot of young women, showing your body is what attracts a man. So what do you feel about, can you still be attractive while covering yourself? Because a lot of women, when they think of you covering yourself, they think of oh, she's dressing old, she's dressing like a grandma. So how do you feel about that?
Mm.
Can you still feel cute, and can you still feel beautiful? So beautiful is the word. Covering yourself as you would showing off your body. And is that the best way to attract a man? Because most women, feel like attracting a man is with their body and their figure.
I would say if you want him to be attracted to you and it lasts, I would say covering is the best way to do it because honestly, everyone has a body. Every woman has a body. So if it's not anything that's special, according to many men I've heard, they've said, it's just a body. But when they're attracted to your mind, which is different, they're attracted to you on a deeper level. They're still going to be attracted to you physically. That doesn't stop. But when they're attracted to your mind, they're attracted to you as a whole entire person and not an object.
Yes, ma'am. And that's one of the things that's part of the knowledge of self, correct me or not. How did you feel? Like, we see the Nation of Islam and the minister talk about knowledge of self. As a woman, in your perspective, how do you feel when you hear the knowledge of self that's included with the teachings? And what is that knowledge of self to you?
When I heard the knowledge of self, it was how it's broken down. It's like a light bulb moment. You hear a little bit about Black people when you're in the schooling system and when you're amongst your people, but you don't hear as much. To be honest, you hear a few things. Martin Luther King, you hear about Malcolm X, you hear about Harriet Tubman, and it's very limited. It doesn't talk about our lives prior to slavery. It doesn't talk about our value. It doesn't talk about who we are. We just learn about our struggles and people who have helped to overcome them or conform them in a different way. When you learn about the knowledge of self, who you are as a Black person, how your Blackness is the result of being related to the original God who was created in triple darkness, that's something that's just like, okay, hold on. It's interesting. It's something that keeps, your attention. It makes you want to learn more. And it gives you a certain level of confidence. A lot of times before, you hear a lot of people, they don't have a lot of self-esteem as a people. We have a bad habit as a people of trying to prove our humanity because we've been tricked so badly. We don't even understand that we are more, the reason why we have certain issues within our communities, having a knowledge of self breaks down what the issues are, why they occurred, why we were attacked in a certain way, and how we can get out of it. It's deep. It makes you I don't know how to, it makes you view yourself differently. It makes you understand your people easier. And it helps you to understand why we are the way we are. There's so many of us who have certain issues, and we kind of just think, oh, it's a Black thing. It's the result of trauma, centuries of trauma, and intentional oppression. And it's not just because we're just violent people. It's not because we're just ignorant people by just being, ignorant. It's because we were made ignorant. It gives you, it gives you a different understanding, and it makes you value yourself on a different level, knowing that you're God's people. And that's why you were attacked so harshly. And that's why you're in the condition that you're in. And you can get out of it, and you will get out of it. But it's going to take a certain process. It gives you hope.
Yes, ma'am. Do you feel like the teachings has made you love yourself more? Because that's, self-love, self knowledge of self brings love of self. So do you think the teachings made you love yourself more? Because a lot of women, and I'm not condemning, they see a lot of flaws within themselves. That's why they get surgeries and they have to do a lot to alter their appearance. So did the Nation of Islam and the teachings as a woman, did it make you love yourself more?
Absolutely. There's certain classes, and within, the MGT classes, it teaches you how to be a better woman. It gives you training on how to be a better woman. And it gives you, for one, your self-esteem, because it, tells you about who you are, but it also teaches you how to go about your role as a woman. Not just when you're married, but also as a single individual. It gives you, a lot of times people put value on women. I know you've probably seen it on social media. Okay, she's pretty, but what else? Well, they break down the what else in MGT class to make sure that you're not just a pretty face, you have substance. You know how to take care of yourself. You're a doctor, for one, for your family, for yourself, because you know how to prevent yourself from getting certain illnesses and how to cure them if you need to. You know how to keep your homes clean. You know how to fix your clothes if you need to, or make them. I mean, it gives you, it's a lot that we know how to do, even when it comes to survival. We're taught, a breakdown of how to make sure that you can withstand something that's to come. How they've talked about food shortages. We have canning classes too, to make sure that we can eat in a time. It just is so deep. I can't even explain it in, a short period of time like this, but giving you something to say, yeah, I'm beautiful. I'm a woman of God, and I know how to do this, and this.
Yeah.
It does something to someone's self-esteem. I don't know. It's great.
Yes, ma'am. And a lot of people, they don't know much about Islam, and they may think women, Islam teaches you to oppress women, or Islam teaches you to abuse women. Now, being in the Nation of Islam, have you learned that you're less than a man? Have you learned that you need to be a slave in the house, pregnant, and you can't work, and you can't have a career, you can't think for yourself? Everything is to serve your husband. What would you think about people that think about that? Like, think like that?
Oh my goodness. One thing I love about Islam is in the Quran, it's a section in the Quran and different surahs. It gives you specific instructions for how you're supposed to go about treatment when it comes to your wife. But we're also taught that the home is our base. It's not our place. Our place is wherever our mind takes us. So it's not oppression. The minister, he always talks about the value of women, and a world is not balanced unless it has women in the positions of control too, because we make up a good portion of the population as well. So it would make sense for us to be in the lead of certain things alongside men. I love it. I mean, I love it. And whenever someone says anything about oppression, I just go to my Quran and go through the surah, go through the ayats, and how we're supposed to treat women. I've never seen that in any other book for the treatment, like specifically outlining what you are allowed to do when it comes to women. And it's beautiful.
What would you say to women that say, well, I don't need a man, I'm an independent woman? What would you feel about females that say that?
Well, we didn't come into this world by ourselves. Everyone needs someone, and that's our other half. You're not a whole without a man, and a man is not a whole without a woman. And it shouldn't be a problem to be dependent upon one. If there is a man who is being led by Allah or by God, then being a partner to that man, or even submitting to a man that way, is freeing. And honestly, when you are able to be with one and they are good, it's a release. It's going to release a lot of stress. It's going to release a lot of pressure. You don't have to take care of it. You don't have to hold down multiple roles, because we weren't made to do that. We were made dependent. We were made dependent on God, our parents. And then as we get older, we're made to be codependent on each other as man and woman.
Yes, ma'am. And you know, a lot of sisters may be watching this and they may ask you, can I still be like a strong woman in the Nation of Islam? Can I still think for myself as a woman in the Nation of Islam, or must I always have to follow and listen and submit myself to a man?
You are still able to be a strong woman. You're still able to voice your opinions. When it comes to it, the man does like within a household, they are the leader. You do submit, but you submit to one who is submitting to Allah. And when he's submitting to Allah, you don't have to take the lead, because he will be leading you in the right direction. It's extra work when you have to lead. It's like, okay, I'm gonna take a step back because he has it, and you're comfortable to, you know that he has it. But of course, it's not recommended that you submit to a man who isn't submitting to Allah, because you're going to be, being led in the wrong direction. But that's a discernment process. You have to make sure that who you're being led by is being led correctly.
What is Allah? For many people watching this, they may ask, what is Allah? Is Allah, is that some Muslim God? Is that some Islam God? Or, I'm Christian. I don't want to follow another God. So what is Allah?
We're taught there's only one God, whose proper name is Allah. Allah just means God in Arabic, but it kind of goes deeper. It's one who holds 99 different attributes. He's a supreme being. He's God. One of the attributes, for example, just means the most merciful. That's so one of the 9.
Yeah, so he just means God.
Yeah,
that's pretty much. It's the same God that the Christians believe in,
same
that
God
the Jews believe in. So it's nothing extra.
No.
And so why Islam? For a lot of people in this country, Black people specifically, they call themselves Christians. So why did you not adhere to Christianity, and why did the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad captivate you and not Christianity, as taught in the church?
Well, for one, Islam, as we're taught, is the nature in which all people are made. It's being made in submission to Allah's will. And Islam, why I practice Islam, why I believe Islam is the way, it's the lifestyle, but it's scientifically backed, it's scientifically proven. It's not something where you just have to go completely on faith. There is an answer to every question that you have. And it's funny, when I was younger, before my mother joined the nation, I wrote out a list of questions that I had about God. I referred to him as God at the time. I didn't refer to him as Allah. And I found it when I was about 14 or 15. And every question that I had that caused me so much confusion, it was answered. It was answered. And at that point, I was just like, okay, let me go ahead and join. It was answered because when I used to attend the mosque with my mother, I would listen. And I'm a natural skeptic. I was skeptical of everything. So I was still taking in everything, but I didn't know if this was for me. I wanted to make sure, because you find that everyone who is in a religion, they are just 100% sure about it. So I'm like, okay, how do we know that this is actually right? And after sitting at the mosque, going enough times, getting the information, the answers to the questions that form from the answers, I'm like, there's no way that this isn't it. This is for me. This is the truth. And I love it, and I got to share it, and I got to be a part of it.
Can you have high positions in the Nation of Islam as a woman?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. One woman who has a high position, she's the national spokesperson in the nation, is Minister Dr. Ava Muhammad. But yeah, you're able to have high positions, or there's a sister captains for the women, and then there's brother captains for the men, of course. Sister Naima Muhammad, she's over all of the MGT. You're able to have a high position within the nation as a Muslim woman.
Yes, ma'am. And just you personally, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking? I know you're not supposed to ask the sister that.
I'm 20.
Yes, ma'am. And like being 20 years old, it felt like you're missing out. Like, you see the women you see the girls your age at, spring break in Miami in bikinis, and they're doing their thing, they're having a hot girl summer, they're drinking, they smoking. You never felt like, dang, I got the headpiece on and I'm covered up and I'm over here, having Ramadan and reading my parts of the Quran when I could be out right now, getting what people would say, getting lit. You never felt like you was missing out?
No, that lifestyle has never been for me. A lot of times you hear people, they say, they feel guilty about it afterwards. I don't have to carry around a burden for my lifestyle. I don't have to wake up with morning sickness. I don't have to wake up with a headache. In fact, I wake up feeling rejuvenated and ready for another day. Ramadan, I was so excited for, because my discipline always increases after Ramadan, which I carry into different aspects of life. My life increases after Ramadan is over. So I love it. I get to feel, more productive, and I don't have anything to feel guilty over afterwards.
Yes, ma'am. We see a lot of people in the nation, they promote this book, right? Mine's, you can tell I read mine, but it says message to the Black man. Is this for the Black woman too, or is this just for men?
It's for everyone. I recommend everyone, Black man, woman, child, everyone, read it. It is going to increase the quality of your life. And there's actually a part in there when concerning women and the treatment of women. And when you read that, you're going to feel so much better as a Black woman, especially if you were considering becoming a Muslim or a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I'd say check it out.
Yes, ma'am. And just going back on the conversation that we had about fun and, missing out, can you have fun in a nation? Because a lot of people see, the brothers and the FOI, and they may see them mean mugging or serious. Can you still have fun in the nation? Can I still get my hair done? Can I still get my nails done as a woman? Can I still watch my favorite TV shows and watch, can I still laugh and smile and have a good time, but still be an MGT, registered in the Nation of Islam?
You can still have fun. You find that fun changes when you get into the nation. What you thought was fun before, it completely, transforms. You can still get your hair done, and you can show your hair to your family, and when you're in your home, and you can still get your nails done. I recommend keeping them at a certain length though, because we're soldiers as well. And you can't really do too much when you can't even close your palms, honestly. But yeah, you can still have fun. In fact, the sisters in my city just got finished doing a sister social. We got together and we all did a paint and sip. And that was beautiful, getting together amongst people who think like you and just having clean fun. It's beautiful. But there's many ways you can have fun as a woman in the nation. That's just one way we did, and we enjoyed it. But yeah, you can still have fun.
Yes, ma'am. And this is the last question. I don't want to hold you too long. What would you say to young women out there who are watching this and they may be lost? They may be catching themselves, running through men and smoking and drinking, and doing, behavior that the enemy has, set them up to do. And what would you tell to women who are thinking about processing, thinking about registering, but that it may not be there yet? What would be your advice to them specifically?
I would say, come on out. Come out to the mosque, come out to class, and be amongst the sisterhood and see what it's like for yourself. You don't have to join. You can visit before you join. You can visit and still not join, but come and see what it's like to be on a different side of the spectrum when it comes to society. We live a completely different life, and you might not be happy with the one that you have. So, what is it going to, there's no loss. There's no loss. And you'll meet a lot of beautiful women, and you'll learn a lot. So come see if it's for you.
Yes, ma'am. And I just want to thank you for coming on my small platform that we're trying to grow. Thank you for your time, your patience, and your wisdom. And sister, I pray to Allah that He continues to protect and bless you and your family and give you strength in this Ramadan. And I just want to say Ramadan Mubarak. Salam alaikum.
Ramadan Kareem, wa alaikum salam, and thank you for inviting me on your platform. And I wish you much success with Ramadan and peace with your family. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum.